Hey, welcome to another edition of the Toll Files, being joined by Alex Candelario in his hometown of Reno. Alex, thanks for a lot coming on.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
So a big weekend coming up for you here. You probably don't get to race in Reno all that much.
No, just once a year at Tour de Nez, and I'm pretty stoked to have two great crits back-to-back here in the Sierras.
Yeah, and you know, it's a lot of people think of you as a sprinter, but I definitely don't. Well, I mean, you're a great sprinter, but Tim Helian from Tour de Nez is working really hard on bringing back a road stage, something I'm sure that. Did you enjoy that stage last year? Just
oh
so
yeah, that's an epic stage. You know, there's not many races that you can do that have such great scenery and great such support, and you know, just being able to race in Lake Tahoe is just an amazing feat in itself.
Yeah. So it's already, I understand the Baj is sick after Philly.
Yeah, we all kind of came down with some stuff at Philly. It kind of happens every year. It's just a stressful situation, and you know, you get done and you know, just kind of want to relax a little bit. But
well, you certainly had a great start to the season. I mean, the whole team really came together, it looked like, this year.
Yeah, you know, we have an amazing team, and you know, we picked up some new guys this year, and Baj is really kind of coming to his own, and I think everyone's kind of rallied around that and really stoked for him.
So now, actually, I don't know if you saw the Velenas piece we did with Andy earlier, but I think he's interested in trying to help pay you back a little bit. Is it U.S. Pro Crit Championship? Is that the objective now for Alex Candelario this year?
Oh, you know, Philly was actually the objective, but
you ended up top American, so congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, everyone works really well as a team, and you know, Baj doesn't need to pay me back for anything. You know, we've been friends for over a decade, so you know, there's give and take and that.
Yeah, maybe payback isn't the term, but I think, you know, he really appreciated the hard work. I mean, it sounded like all reports that we got from Redlands this year is that you absolutely buried yourself on that final day to help set him up. That's what a good teammate does.
Yeah, I was pretty buried, but you know, in the end, he's the one that won the race and pedaled.
That's nice of you, Alex. But so, cracking the code for winning U.S. Pro Crit, what hasn't come together for you in years past? Because I know you've certainly got the finishing kick. Is that more of a crapshoot than most races that you do?
No, you know, it's just a difficult race because there's a really technical aspect to the last like 3 or 4 laps, and you really need a whole team to kind of get you through those last 3 or 4 laps. And you know, last year my guys did a really good job, but I was still left alone on the last lap, and you know, I had to spend energy doing this or that, and you know, Huff just went for it and pulled it off. So.
And then, well, now that they've changed things, and I believe this year it is Americans only.
Actually, they just flipped it again, which is kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, I would think so. You have almost, outside of a few Australians on your team, it's pretty much all Americans.
Yeah, you know, and that's you know, that's something that Van Hout does really good job at, is really kind of develop American talent and really kind of invest in guys that he sees a lot of potential in. And unfortunately, USA Cycling doesn't see the value in having an American-only national championships, which you know, kind of seems ironic, but they want to put foreigners back in the race again. So you know, either way, we're pretty confident that we can win the race. So
clearly, we're at a turning point in this sport. The stuff that's happened in the last year over in Europe is something that I'm sure you've been watching really closely, and you've been as outspoken as any rider in the American peloton about your desire to see things get cleaned up. Are we making any headway as far as trying to get dope out of the sport?
I think there's definitely been some headway in Europe, you know, with Bob Stapleton coming into T-Mobile and instituting a really good program over there.
Spider on you.
And you know, it seems like CSC is making a really big effort, and then you got Jonathan Vodder's team that's doing a lot of, you know, in-house controls that they're going to really step it up next year and have some heavy hitters. And so I think there's definitely, you know, a lot more effort going on over there with the teams that have a lot of money to do that.
So, okay, but let's talk about in America right now, and you know, this is sort of it's obviously the ugly side of the sport, and I think that, you know, sometimes people have got their head in the sand about racing here in the States, and I think it's a lot cleaner than what we've seen in Europe, but it's not 100% clean. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, there's always that downside to it, you know, and something I've struggled with for a number of years, just knowing that, you know, there's certain elements out there that are having a negative play on the sport, but you know, it's just one of those challenges that you have to kind of rise to, and you know, there's a life after cycling, and a lot of people just need to really understand that.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. And
Yeah.
but do you take extra motivation when you're riding against a, like, say you're in a group of 4 that's going to be going to the line? You've actually done that right here. It wasn't a group of 4, but that was actually with Eric Saunders, who's another guy who I think is really one of the clean, straight shooters in our sport. But let's say that it wasn't Eric Saunders, it was a rider X who you, in your heart of hearts, believe has been doping over this, that current season. Do you take extra motivation in just wanting to crush that guy?
I try not to let that influence the way I race, just because it just has a really negative effect. And in the past, just with teammates that have gotten caught doing it, it's just something that you try and forget about when you're racing, because it can destroy you.
Yeah,
and
it can destroy your team as well.
I'm just naturally competitive, and I just always want to win anyway. So. I don't need too much motivation in that department.
So we were talking with Laura Krebs in a toll files a couple months ago. Let's take a look back on something more positive. Your collegiate racing years at CU. Those were some good days, weren't they?
They actually were, and thanks to collegiate cycling, I got involved in road racing, and I've had a pretty good career thus far in road racing.
And and I'm going to guess it was 5 years ago that you hooked up with Danny Van Out and Jelly Belly?
This is my 4th season with him.
4th season.
Yeah.
And it looks like you guys have, the program is really comprehensive. You've got a rock solid sponsor. Stephanie Scott obviously has been a big supporter, not only of your team, but of a lot of races around the country as well. You think they're going to be around for a while?
Yeah, I think so. Jelly Belly developed sport beans in the past couple of years, and that's been a huge success. And I think that they see the value in supporting our team and marketing sport beans all over the country and soon all over the world. And we're going to go race in China pretty soon, and there's soon going to be a Jelly Belly factory in Asia, and there's going to be a Jelly Belly factory in Australia. And so it's a great sponsor, and it's someone that's it's a company that's supported cycling for almost 10 years now, which is pretty unheard of, in the sport. And it's a family-owned company that's done a lot for our sport, and it's great that we can give them some good exposure and pay back some of that.
And you guys actually every year you go to the factory, and could you actually make a jelly bean?
We actually made jelly beans. Yeah.
What flavor?
I made a tangerine Jelly Belly.
And were they okay?
Yeah, they were great. Yeah.
Right on. So your life is, it seems to me like you've made some really nice positive steps in the last couple of years, and now you're just buying a house here in Reno. That stability make you a better bike racer?
I think so, just being able to have a home to come home to is a nice factor. And, definitely.
And someone like Hannah to come home to, obviously.
She's great as well. And so, that's great. And then the community of Reno is pretty amazing, actually.
Well, it's interesting, we were talking about, what can a bike race do for a community? And the Tour de Nez is a great example. Do you think that you would be living here now if you hadn't come back a few years ago to do Nez?
I don't think I would be.
Yeah,
to be
interesting,
honest,
isn't it?
I'm kind of from the area. I grew up in Tahoe for the first 10 years of my life, so it's definitely kind of a home that I've always kind of considered. Mm-hmm. But just coming back to Reno and being experienced with the Tour de Nez and all the people involved with that is definitely opened my eyes to how valuable an asset Reno is. And a lot of people have this image of Reno that it might be true in some regards, but for the most part, people misinterpret Reno, and it's a really cool place.
Well, I think what you're talking about is people look at this as one of those throwback gambling towns, but there's a very active outdoor community, and it seems like it's growing every year.
It is, and I think that's one of the things that Reno's realized is that Vegas is kind of the gaming area, and Reno has to really kind of hook on to whatever to the outdoor activity that'll make their community more valuable, and I think they're doing a good job of that.
So this year at Philadelphia, ending up 9th place as the top American. In the back of your mind, are you sitting there going like, I wish they just left this as U.S. Pro?
It's tough to say that because, obviously it'd be a different race if that were the case. But, it's just disappointing because it's the second year in a row that a crash has happened in the last 500 meters or so, and I've been kind of part of it. So, it's hard to race 156 miles and then have something like that and mess up the final sprint. But that's just bike racing.
And have you heard anything about what's happening with the U.S. Pro race down in Greenville? Is that an objective for you this year as well as the Crit Championship? It sounds like they've modified the course a little bit.
Really, I haven't heard anything about that, but it's a pretty long climb for me. And it's a great race for Baj, so you know, I'm sure our primary objective will be to launch Baj, and he had a great race there last year, and so, you know, I think he can really win it.
Actually, yeah, that was a breakthrough for Baj. I think he opened up a lot of eyes.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like where he kind of got that confidence back, you know, where he's like, hey man, you know, I can really climb with whoever, whenever.
Well, I think you can sprint with whoever, whenever. So good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Not only at the Tour de Nega, is like this race obviously is special to a lot of us in the sport. Was it the kind of win that you have a little extra motivation for?
It is, you know, especially just being in your hometown, you know.
Sure.
But it's always hard to win in your hometown because everyone knows you want to win in your hometown.
You're about as much of a marked man as there's going to be in the field.
So, but it's a special race, you know, and I'll have a lot of friends and family watching, so I have to
Do your best.
Yeah.
Huh? Well, good luck, Alex. Alex
Thanks,
Candelario coming by. Always
Thanks,
good to
bud.
see you. So for the toll files in Reno, pretty cool. We'll see you down the road.